A lot of questions on the amendment, Mr. Speaker, and I will save my questions for the underlying bill as opposed to going through them twice. But I just do have a few comments and concerns. You know, when I ran for state representative, I took an oath of office like all of us did here. And when the Secretary of State swore us in, we put our right hand up and we took an oath that we would defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution in Connecticut. And I take that oath very, very seriously, and I hope my colleagues here in this chamber do as well. It is the Constitution of the United States and Connecticut is the supreme authority, and we should use that as guidance every day when we're in this building, when we're making decisions. The Constitution of Connecticut and the United States, it's there for a reason. It belongs to the people. And you know, every single day, the Constitution, we exercise all the rights that are given to us. We use those rights every single day. And it's very important that we protect those rights every single day. We try to do that as much as we can in this chamber and in this House, and this is no exception, this particular bill, Mr. Speaker. If I can just quickly, I want to tell you a story. Representative Steinberg made a comment. I believe the question was asked to him, to the children that cannot enroll in school, is the state of Connecticut obligated to educate them? And Representative Steinberg's answer was no, that we were not. I would like to just kind of tell a brief story, if I may, is that in 1965, there was a constitutional convention in Connecticut. And there was a man there by the name of Simon Bernstein. He was there. Prior to 1965, there was nothing in our Constitution that talked about education. But this Simon Bernstein, he was an attorney. He was a member of the Board of Education, and he was a delegate to that convention. And the sole purpose of that convention is they were dealing with issues regarding equality with the parties, and they were trying to solve that issue. But what he recognized is that the state of Connecticut was one of the few states that didn't have any provisions in their Constitution that guaranteed children to a free public education. He went to his leaders during that convention, and they wouldn't listen to him. They were too busy worrying about the exact reason why we're there, and that was to deal with the inequality of the legislature. But he insisted, and he threatened, he said, I will go to the press with my concerns. So they listened, and they gave him 5 minutes to adopt something. And what he ended up doing was putting into the Constitution that every child in the state of Connecticut is entitled to a free public education. So I would say to Mr. Steinberg, I believe we are obligated to educate our children. It's embedded in our Constitution. Every child has a right to that. When you look at the 14th Amendment under the Constitution, which gives you equal protection and to make sure that everybody is treated equally and people should not be treated differently, and every state must comply with that 14th Amendment. But Connecticut actually went a step further, Mr. Speaker. In Section 1 of our Connecticut Constitution, it says that no men are entitled to exclusive public privileges from the community. And it goes even further in Section 20 of our Connecticut Constitution that says no person shall be denied equal protection and subject to segregation or discrimination. And they have a right to practice their religion, and they shouldn't be discriminated against that, along with race, color, and sexual preference. What this amendment does along with the entire bill, but I will have questions when we come up to that, is I understand the intent of wanting to grandfather children in from kindergarten and up. But Mr. Speaker, we have 683 children in pre-K and daycare that are currently using the religious exemption. 683 children. So I ask in my mind, what are these parents supposed to do? How can you make a decision to support an amendment that will grandfather children kindergarten through high school and leave out those children? There's 683 children right now in the state of Connecticut that are attending daycare and preschool that will be thrown out. I am very concerned for these children. I don't know what these parents are supposed to do. Are they supposed to quit their jobs because their children will be segregated from the community? I call this whole bill segregation. And I understand the political intent of the bill to grandfather K through 12 because politically it's easier to answer to people, well, you're safe. You're safe. You don't have to worry about it. But yes, we do have to worry about it because 683 children in pre-K and daycare, licensed daycares, will be thrown out. And I don't know what these parents are going to do. That should concern everybody in this room. And that should give everybody a reason why they shouldn't support this amendment. It's discrimination. We are picking winners and losers. We might as well just shout from the rooftops in the state of Connecticut that if you plan on moving here, or our current young moms, people who are just getting married that are starting out as a family, want to have children, and they feel that maybe they need to take a religious exemption when their child's in school on even one vaccine, that they won't be able to do that. And for those parents who have young children and are thinking of our young adults in this state that are thinking of having a family, that they should know that if should you have a family and you decide your baby, your child in pre-K or daycare that is getting ready to go there, you decide that there's one vaccine that you don't want your child to take, for whatever reason, you have that right. Nobody has that right to force that on anybody. There's nothing in our Constitution says that the government has a right to force you to put a needle in your arm. Those families, those children will be segregated. They will be segregated from their schools. They will be segregated from society. To quite honestly, it's appalling that we would treat children like that. In my mind, a yes vote for this amendment just says to me that you agree with segregation. You agree with throwing 683 children out of preschool and daycare because they don't matter, because it's always safe to take a safe vote. Let me vote for this and I'll be out of the hot water. But we need to protect ourselves for future generations. It's the future of our children. It's our liberty. It's our right. And once you take those rights away, they never come back. You know, my job as a state representative is to protect my constituents, not just the constituents that we have today, the people that are here today, but it's for future generations. And I believe everybody in this room taking that oath of office should be obligated to do the same. Again, it's easy to take a yes vote on here and go home to your constituents and say it was a safe vote. You're okay. You don't have to deal with it. But guess what? Those children in pre-K and daycare do have to deal with it. And our future generation has to deal with it. And you know what? Someday this could be your family. This could be your grandchildren that are going to be denied an education in the state of Connecticut simply because of something they believe. Mr. Speaker, I don't have any questions like I said before, but just to say that this bill is so punitive and such government overreach. And I believe as a legislator that I need to protect everybody. I represent everybody, not just a select few. And I cannot support this amendment because if I do, it will be telling me for future generations, people will lose their rights. I will be throwing 683 children out of preschool and daycare. And the ones that may need those services in the beginning, going forward, will be lost. I don't know what these parents are going to do. Are they going to have to quit their jobs? What about children that are homeless, that go to preschool and daycare? What about children that come to this country from another country that we have no record of their vaccines and they are in daycare and preschool? Go ahead, we're just going to throw them out on the street. I hope my colleagues will stand with me today and vote no for this amendment. I understand the pressure that we are getting to grandfather these children in because it's, as I said, it's an easy political vote. But I hope everybody in this chamber thinks about the future, our children in daycare and our preschool that will be affected by this. Mr. Speaker, thank you very much.
Thank you, Representative. Representative